win their first ever NBA championship.
The San Antonio Spurs are NBA World Champions.
The San Antonio Spurs have won their third NBA World Championship.
The San Antonio Spurs are NBA champions once
The
again.
Spurs are the 2014 NBA champions.
When Michael Jordan walked away for the second time after his 1998 championship season, the NBA championship felt like an unclaimed prize. The league's next title winner wouldn't emerge from the usual glitz, but from the quiet discipline of the San Antonio Spurs. Forged by an unconventional coach, led by a humble Admiral, and grounded by a silent rookie, the 1999 Spurs became the team that dared to fill the massive void. But before we move on, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The year 1998 will forever be etched in basketball history as the climax of one story and the painful dramatic beginning of another. Michael Jordan, wearing the iconic red and black, delivered his sixth and final championship moment. Yet in the weeks and months that followed, the NBA landscape was utterly unrecognizable. Jordan retired again. Coach Phil Jackson stepped away. The entire dynasty, a leviathan that had dictated the gravitational pull of the league for nearly a decade, simply dissolved. The championship trophy, for the first time in years, was up for grabs, and a collective tension gripped the league. Which organization was disciplined enough, deep enough, and talented enough to inherit the crown? For the San Antonio Spurs, this moment wasn't a sudden opportunity. It was the long-delayed culmination of a journey that began over a decade earlier. The real foundation of the 1999 championship was laid in 1987, when the Spurs, then a struggling franchise, won the NBA draft lottery. With the first overall pick, they selected a man who is already an American hero, David Robinson, a 7'1" center from the U.S. Naval Academy. Robinson was an athletic marvel, a humanitarian, and a once-in-a-generation talent. He was also beholden to a 2-year active-duty commitment to the Navy. The city of San Antonio had to wait.
We waited 14 years. What's 2 more? What's 2 more?
Those 2 years were agonizing, yet they instilled a unique patience in the franchise. When Robinson finally reported for duty in 1989, the transformation was immediate and historic. Robinson was unanimously named Rookie of the Year, and he immediately injected the organization with his own sense of character and discipline. For the next 7 years, David Robinson, the Admiral, was a perennial MVP candidate, a scoring champion, and the NBA's gold standard for the modern center.
Marshall in there, great pass. Protection by Robinson.
Watch this block. You think David Robinson is not a factor inside?
Rejected. That's number 6 by Robinson.
In it goes, and this time Robinson beats the double team hole!
Spurs were consistently excellent, a playoff fixture, but they could never quite break through the Western Conference's glass ceiling. Robinson was perhaps too nice, too respectful, and the organization was maybe too comfortable with winning 55 games and collecting checks.
We knew we were on the right track, not because we had won 56 games. A lot of Spurs teams have won a lot of games, but we knew we had played hard, we knew we had played well, and we left that season really fired up to start the next year.
This period of great talent but ultimate disappointment set the stage for the next dramatic turn. In the 1996-97 season, the Admiral was struck by a severe foot injury, limiting him to just 6 games.
Well, I don't think that I've felt anything like this since I've been in sports. And it's just a crummy way to end a good year.
The Spurs plummeted to an abysmal 20-62 finish. It was a nightmare season, a crisis that forced the organization to face an uncomfortable truth. Great players alone do not guarantee titles, but in their darkest moment, they were about to be gifted a fate that would change the trajectory of professional basketball forever. The disastrous season positioned the Spurs for a dramatic swing of luck, securing the best odds in the upcoming draft lottery. The basketball gods, it seemed, had a plan to reward the Admiral's years of loyalty and perseverance. the true agent of change in San Antonio was not a player, but an unconventional, private, slightly terrifying man behind the scenes. Gregg Popovich. Pop wasn't a traditional NBA lifer. He came from the Air Force Academy, saw basketball like military chess, and believed in sacrifice, detail, and the occasional death stare. Popovich first served as an assistant coach for the Spurs from 1988 to 1992, and returned in 1994 as the Spurs general manager and vice president of basketball operations. In other words, he controlled everything, absolutely everything. His early moves made his philosophy obvious. He signed the tough, undersized Avery Johnson, who would become the emotional core of the team. Then he traded the extremely talented but extremely chaotic Dennis Rodman to Chicago. It was a loud message: basketball first, circus second. The climax of Popovich's front office run and the start of his coaching legend came during the disastrous 1996-97 season. With the team stumbling to a 3-15 start and Robinson injured, Popovich made a decision that shocked the basketball world. He fired head coach Bob Hill and appointed himself head coach. Critics said it was an ego trip. Popovich didn't care. He needed his system installed by someone who understood it perfectly: himself. The season was terrible, but Popovich wasn't trying to win that season. He was preparing for the future.
Playoffs have a way of bringing out all your faults. We didn't play well together, and when adversity came, we were not able to overcome it.
The Spurs entered the 1997 draft lottery with the best odds. When the ping-pong balls bounced their way, Popovich knew exactly who he wanted: a once-in-a-generation talent, a player with superstar skill and zero superstar drama, a perfect fit for the system: Tim Duncan. The Twin Towers emerge. In the summer of 1997, the Spurs selected Tim Duncan, a 6'11" forward from Wake Forest. It was possibly the most important moment in franchise history, and Duncan wasn't even the type to smile big about it.
With the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Tim Duncan from Wake Forest University.
Duncan was the anti-superstar: humble, brilliant, relentless, and completely uninterested in attention. He stayed all 4 years in college, a decision that told Popovich everything he needed to know. Duncan wasn't chasing the spotlight, he was chasing excellence. And with Duncan, the Spurs suddenly had the Twin Towers. Robinson, the 32-year-old once-in-a-lifetime center, now had a partner who could score, rebound, defend, and politely destroy you without saying a single word. Robinson was thrilled to share the burden. Duncan was thrilled to do the work. Their personalities blended like they were built in the same basketball laboratory. The results were instant. In the 1997-98 season, the Spurs went from 20 wins to 56 wins, breaking their own record for biggest turnaround. Duncan won Rookie of the Year. The Spurs stormed into the playoffs, only to fall to the veteran Utah Jazz. Painful, but necessary.
San Antonio, it has to be the ultimate letdown again. This is a team that has really underachieved when it's gotten to postseason.
As they entered the summer of 1998, they were ready. The Bulls dynasty was dead. The West was open. The Twin Towers were rising. Then the NBA shut down. Of course. The lockout hit. The season shrank to 50 games, and chaos took over, setting the stage for the Spurs' perfectly timed rise. The NBA's post-Jordan era was supposed to begin in the fall of 1998, but instead the league decided to take an extremely long nap. A nasty labor dispute triggered a 204-day lockout, and the season shrank to 50 games starting in February. This created a weird, frantic season. No proper training camp, jam-packed schedule, zero time for chemistry. Teams were scrambling. Except one. The Spurs, honed under Popovich's intense military-style practices, were built for chaos. Duncan and Robinson were constants. The role players knew exactly what to do. The system thrived. The Spurs finished with the league's best record at 37-13, powered by suffocating defense and the cold-blooded consistency of Tim Duncan, who was already playing like a future top 10 all-time player. In the playoffs, the Spurs beat the Timberwolves.
We knew we had to go out there and not point fingers, not worry about things, just going out there and trying to get it done.
Then shocked the basketball world by sweeping Shaq and a young Kobe Bryant's Lakers. Robinson and Duncan made Shaq look mortal, something that almost never happened.
I know I can count on Avery to bring his game. I know I can count on Sean to bring his game. Mario's going to come in and give us good defense, and the guys coming off the bench, Malik and Jerome, are going to give us great energy.
Jerome Kursky with the ball, fires it.
Next, they swept the Portland Trail Blazers, rolling into the finals on a 10-game playoff winning streak. The Spurs were officially terrifying, and very quiet about it. You know they're serious when their celebratory war cry is a polite head nod. The 1999 finals featured the dominant Spurs against the Cinderella story Knicks, who crawled into the finals as the number 8 seed. With Patrick Ewing injured, the Knicks relied on the grit of Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, and Larry Johnson. It was a tough defensive, low-scoring series, basically basketball with steel boots on. The difference was Tim Duncan. He averaged 27.4 points, 14 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks, destroying every matchup. Robinson cleaned up everything else. The Twin Towers were simply too much. But the finals were also decided by key role players: Sean Elliott, Avery Johnson, Mario Elie, an already 2-time champion, and a familiar legend, Steve Kerr, fresh off the Bulls dynasty. Elie and Kerr brought title experience and clutch shooting, which the Spurs needed badly. In Game 5, with the Spurs holding a tight lead, Avery Johnson hit a huge baseline jumper for what would be his iconic moment.
Got it on the entry pass, double team, Elliott on top. Elliott bluffs, drives, kicks. Avery Johnson for the lead, yes! Avery Johnson drills it from a baseline.
It sealed the championship. Final score 78-77. Series 4-1. The Spurs were champions. Duncan won Finals MVP. Robinson finally held the trophy he had been chasing for over a decade. Popovich became a coaching legend, and the Spurs announced themselves as the new rulers of the NBA. Not flashy, not dramatic, but relentlessly efficient.
1999 NBA champion, San Antonio Spurs.
It was the birth of a champion built on humility, discipline, and one unstoppable bank shot. A bank shot, by the way, that had the least dramatic trajectory of any game winner in history. It just went in. It was very Spurs. So what are your thoughts on this story of the 1999 champions? Do let me know in the comments, and make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates. We'll catch you in the next one.